Tim Daniels is here. He and I grew up in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Hey, Timmy.
Hey, guys.
So Tim and I grew up in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and I've told this story before, where my dad's store was around at the end of Main Street near the train station. There was a couple streets, River Street, and I know this is going to sound goofy, but River Street was kind of like Moose Jaw's, sort of sketchy street. Remember that the Brunswick Hotel was down there?
Oh, yeah.
And it was the kind of place where, as a kid, because I used to have to walk through that River Street to take my dad the clothing to go get it tailored. And I was always a bit nervous. I don't know about you as a kid, but I didn't go down there. But to be honest, it was a lot of Indigenous people who that was sort of, and same in Regina. We both grew up around a lot of this.
Yeah.
And, they weren't treated all that well. They weren't thought of very well in those days. Do you have any memories of that area or that time in the 60s and 70s in Moose Jaw?
Yeah, I sure do. And it's, much the same as yours, that, it was the part of town that, you only went to if you had to. And you're right. It was, where the Indigenous people would hang out and some of the low end bars and so on. I think it's probably one of the first bars I was able to ever get into while I was still underage was the Brunswick.
Of course.
They didn't care who they let in, but
that's right. With crappy draft beer, we all did.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, let's not take any more time away from Healthgauge. Of course, Tim Daniels now living life in Florence, Italy. Our things start. We were just talking to Dan, our friend who's visiting Shediac in New Brunswick, and talking about the end of tourist season. Are the tourists starting to leave Florence finally?
Yeah, no, actually, September is a really busy time. August is slower because it's just so wicked hot. Every day it's 40 degrees. And even the tourists are smart enough to stay away. So come September and into October, the weather's far more pleasant, and so you get the kidless tourists, the ones that don't have to take their break over the July, August months. Are here in droves. So like today, for example, it's 27 degrees. So we're out of the hot part of it. That's why I'm wearing vests now, because this is cold for me.
Oh, you must be chilly.
Yeah, it is. It is. When you have 40 degrees every day for 6 damn weeks, 27 actually feels chilly. When I go for a run after this, I got to stay to the sunny sections of the street because I get in the shade and you get a chill going. So, yeah, really, seriously.
Never think about it. A boy from Moose Jaw would. That makes sense. I know the other day, just out cutting the lawn when we got that little turn of cold weather, I thought it's not even that cold. If this was a day in March, I'd be loving it.
Exactly. Guys, I'm telling you, I played golf. Timmy, Freddie, I played golf the last couple of days where it was pretty sunny, 18 degrees, 20 degrees, but there's the warmth, there's a bit of a bite to the air, and I was in and out of a jacket for like 3 or 4 hours because I don't know. I think part of it is I'm in my 60s now. I get cold all the time.
Yeah,
that's true. One of the things that the Healthgauge can do, of course, is check your temperature. Mine's pretty good right now, although I'm not. The last couple of nights I've had some uneven sleep. We were talking about the watch. We're wearing the Phoenix. Yeah. Freddie's got the. I've got the sort of the rubber strap. He's got the little leather one. But we're talking about how you can share this information. You know what I didn't know about? I said this on the show the other day. I didn't know the Healthgauge was going to notify me to drink water. All of a sudden, I looked down on my phone. I'm like, "What is this notification?" And it said, "Drink water, Healthgauge." So you can. Here's why I felt bad. I didn't even know I'd set that up. So there's so many things to this, but one of them, and maybe we should talk about it today, Timmy, is to talk about the idea you can share information and how it exists. Tell us about that.
Yeah, for sure. So the online platform, there's 3 pieces to the whole solution, to the end-to-end solution. Of course, there's the wearable, and this is the heart and soul. This is what most of us refer to 90% of the time. But then there's also the phone app, which is really user friendly, and it is more full featured. There's some things you can do on the phone app that you can't do on your wrist wearable. But the third piece is a really, really important piece, and that's the cloud platform. And that's the piece that you can set up to share with your doctor and your whole care team, other family members. Let's say, if you have an elderly parent and you want to just see how they're doing, you can read their Healthgauge readings all day long, all night long. Or I'll give you a real live example. Some friends of ours who are kind of the anti-vaxxers, they both got COVID back about a month ago. Fortunately, they're young and healthy, in their early 40s, and he got over it in about a week and was back to work. He's a police officer here in town. A month later, believe it or not, she's still testing positive. So she's still quarantined, because until you come up with like 10 days worth of negative tests, you got to stay quarantined. So she's been housebound for a month. And in Italy, this is like the good old days, believe it or not, the doctors still come and do house calls. So, once every few days, they're coming to her house, doing the PCR test on her. It's coming back positive. So back about a month ago, I gave her one of my health gauges and said, Lena, the one thing you really have to watch is your oxygen level, your blood oxygen level. And she said, oh, why? And I said, because that's the first indicator that things are really going south for you when you've got coronavirus. If your blood oxygen level is staying, 95% or above, things are good. Once they drop below 95, you better, start thinking about making your way to the hospital. And that's what happened to Trump. The reason why, they put Trump in the helicopter and flew him off to Walter Reed Hospital was because in a period of about 2 hours, his blood oxygen level went from the mid 90s, which is good, down to the mid 80s, which is critical. And so they got him in the helicopter and off to the hospital. And that's the advice you give to everyone. So I gave her the watch and I said, set it up so that every 20 minutes or so it's reading your blood oxygen level, and it'll warn you if your blood oxygen level gets below 95. It'll buzz. And it gave her that peace of mind, and especially her husband being away at work, being a police officer, and she could sleep for a few hours, and with that peace of mind, knowing that this was monitoring her blood oxygen level while she was trying to catch up on some of her sleep, and knowing that it was monitoring this really, really critical parameter through all this. And so so anyway, but really scary. A month later, she's still testing positive.
So are they still two questions. Are they still anti-vax?
So it's the typical thing. Oh, if we only knew. Well, yeah, there was no reason for you not to have known, but right. Okay, great. Now you're amongst the converted, and
so they did get vaccinated.
Well, she's still under quarantine. She's still testing positive a month later. Now that he's negative, and he's got the antibodies, so he's waiting for her to finally, come around and get over this, and then they will go in together.
Because the second thing I wanted to say is Freddie and I don't know about Fred. Maybe he knows some people I don't, but we really only know a couple of people sort of in our extended circle that are anti-vax. Most of the people I deal with on a day-to-day basis, everywhere I go, including this golf tournament today, everyone has a show of vaccination. What about Italy in general for you? Like, other than this couple, are these the outliers in your social circle?
Yeah, very much. So basically, now the mandate has come down that anybody with a job, period, whether you're a government employee or work in your own private little shoe repair shop, doesn't matter. Everybody with a job has to be vaccinated. That's the law, or you get fired from your job.
Wow.
My housekeeper has to be vaccinated, or she can't be my housekeeper. It's so they've really cracked down on that. Number one. Number two, to go anywhere, any indoor location, whether it's a restaurant, a movie theater, a train station, or what have you, any indoor location, you have to present your green pass. Any public transportation, you have to have a green pass. Of course, to get in and out of the country, you have to have a green pass. So basically, the government is saying, we're not making you get vaccinated, but basically you can't leave your house unless you're vaccinated. So our vaccination rate is up around 80% now because of that. So
is there much pushback there as far as, imbecilic protests and?
No, there's not. And the other interesting thing is that we're not required to wear masks outdoors. And still, though, you see about half the people out on the street every day are wearing their mask faithfully. Indoors, 100%, you must wear a mask. So everybody does. And there's just no pushback. Everybody just has come to
well, we just started this, I think it was last week, the 22nd, right, Phil, was when this came into effect. And I've had 3 or 4 occasions now to have to produce my receipt and ID. Yeah. And I was saying to the guys earlier, like I was in a restaurant Saturday night, I felt so comfortable knowing that everyone in my proximity was vaccinated. But I don't think, and I don't get your opinion on this, guys, but I don't think we're going to see the end of people wearing masks for some time. Yeah. I think that's going to be with us for the future.
Yeah, I think this is the new normal, going forward, at least until the numbers get really, really low, and maybe, some sort of a vaccine that is better than a, 6 to 12 month vaccine, because, now we're going to start this, this second round of booster shots and at some point, I'm expecting that, there's going to be a certain amount of pushback with respect to that, where people are just going to say, I've had enough of this.
Well, too bad. Yesterday in Italy, there was 3,200 cases, which is pretty good. Italy, the population is compared
about
to us,
65 million. Yeah,
so just about 20 million more than Canada. Your cases are 2 days ago was around 3,000. Yesterday, whatever I said, Canada. We're sort of around the same. We had 3,000 cases a couple days ago. Yesterday, similar, 4,000. And what you say is at some point it's going to, I don't know if it's going to peter out, but I think people are just going to.
Well, when it comes to masks, I will be an early adapter. When they say they're no longer necessary, like even indoors, I won't wear one. Sure. And part of my mindset is just getting on with it. Like, I was told to get a vaccine, it would help. I got a vaccine. It has helped. The numbers are there. Yeah. So if it says, at some point, you don't need a mask inside, I will take mine off because, again, it will be the next step of getting on with it, so to speak. Yeah, but my wife won't. She'll be wearing it for years.
No, well, some people are going to. Anyway, back to, as we wrap up, I want everyone to know the Healthgauge Phoenix is what we're wearing. And if you go to healthgauge.com, as we recommend. You got yours, I got mine. Go to healthgauge.com and the promo code HumbleFred15 for 15% off at purchase. One of our highest recommendations. All right, Moose Jaw, you and I are going to talk tomorrow. We're going to catch up about, nonsense. And thanks for your time today. And
thanks, guys.
Best. Bueno Girino or whatever.
Always a pleasure, guys.
Okay,
have a good
Timmy.
one. Okay.
There he is.